Hi, everybody. It's Marcella Friel here with Tapping with Marcella. I'm a mindful eating mentor who helps health conscious women like you love and forgive yourself, your food, and your figure. And I have to confess, I'm feeling a little frustrated right now. I'm so sorry that I'm 7 minutes late. I've been trying to get on Facebook on my live video, and for some reason it was just locking me out. Oh, I don't know why. But today I'm going to talk about when the holidays are not merry. How do you handle depression, grief, and loneliness at holiday time? I want to talk a little bit about a spiritual perspective on these issues. And then if you're up for it, I want to do some EFT tapping along with you to give you some tools to help you navigate if you're feeling particularly vulnerable at holiday time. So before we get into all of that, I feel like I need to take 3 deep breaths just to get present after all my technical difficulties here. So if you would like to join me, feel free to place your hands on your heart and let's take 3 deep conscious breaths together. Okay, that feels a lot better. So let's talk about when the holidays are not merry. So if you are like 1 out of 2 people in the United States, you are probably going through some form of depression, anxiety, grief, or some other form of just feeling out of sync with all the ho, ho, ho that's happening at holiday time. And, you know, there can be a lot of reasons for that. Fundamentally, at least in the northern hemisphere, you know, of our planet Earth, we are coming into the winter solstice. It's the darkest time of the year. And, you know, in this culture, it's like we're allergic to that darkness. So rather than this being a time in the public, you know, the collective energy, rather than this being a time of like darkness and going inward and introspection, you know, just as every other animal does at this time of year, rather than being that for us, you know, we have lights and we have holiday parties and we are supposed to have gifts for everybody and we're supposed to feel happy. And that can put a tremendous strain on our system right there at so many levels. There was a teacher back in the 1970s, his name was Michio Kushi, and he was the father of macrobiotics in America. And he had a term called hurry sickness, where he said that our concepts of time are actually making us sick. You know, so I think hurry sickness is a big thing that happens at holiday time. The other thing that can happen around holidays is if you're feeling a lot of grief, which can come when, you know, the holidays mark an anniversary of loss of some kind. It could be the loss of somebody you loved. It could be the loss of a relationship. It could be, you know, some other, you know, tragedy that hit your life at holiday time. So that can also be very challenging. And for me personally, I really know this story of holiday depression pretty well. Those of you who know my backstory, you might know just from learning about me and working with me and stuff that, you know, I talk pretty openly about growing up in a violent household when I was a kid. And so rather than being a time of fun, you know, the holidays were a time when, you know, for me, I would be like walking on eggshells, kind of waiting for the, you know, waiting for the bomb to drop, so to speak. And then in my early life, I would just like hunker down and, you know, put my hood over my head and kind of wait for the holidays to just pass. And then when I got into meditation practice, I would just go on meditation retreats for the holidays and, you know, just try to bypass them. But then there came a certain point where I had to say to myself, you know, this isn't quite working anymore. Like there's something here that I need to face around holiday time and holiday anxiety. And it wasn't until I started doing EFT tapping, which is the tool that I use in my work with my clients, that I began to really be able to kind of clear away and tap away a lot of the, fear and anxiety and trepidation that I felt around holiday time. And then once I was able to clear all of that, I really had to turn around and look at the holidays again and say to myself, how do I want to celebrate the holidays on terms that are genuinely, authentically meaningful to me? And since that time, I have come to, number one, relax the expectations around the holidays for me personally. And two, create holidays that I really enjoy, that, they might not be merry and fun, but they're holidays that actually have meaning to me. So I'm hoping that that's what I can help you do in the time that we have together. And I don't know if I'm just talking to myself here, or if anybody else is out there in Facebook Live land. If you are, just give me a hi, say hello. Yeah, I'd be happy to hear from you. So the other piece about holiday depression that's important to mention is that holidays, of course, are the high holy days of addiction. All of our addictions come out in the holidays, whether it's drinking or shopping, spending too much money, getting too busy. Busy, hurry sickness can be an addiction in itself. Maybe, you might have an affair during the holidays or what have you. Hey, Sheridan. Oh, hi. Oh, you found my page today. Welcome. Yeah, nice to see you. But food addiction is also one of the big addictions, of course, that can come out during the holidays. We overeat, we overdrink. And, it's like we pull out of ourselves. And then we use the food to try to anchor ourselves back into our bodies, but it doesn't work, and it just ends up making us feel miserable. So I want to do some tapping around that in just a couple of minutes. But before I do, I wanted to give you a perspective on depression and, anxiety and all of these difficult emotions from one of my spiritual teachers, who was a Tibetan meditation master. His name was Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. And he was a very influential man in the development of Buddhist teachings in the Western world altogether. And this is one of his landmark books. It's called The Myth of Freedom. I've had this book for about 30 years. You can see it's pretty dog-eared, And in fact, the pages are coming out, but I can't give it away. It's my precious book. I don't want to get a new one. I kind of like my dog-eared book, to tell you the truth. So anyway, this is what Trungpa Rinpoche has to say about working with negativity altogether. Here's what he says. We all experience negativity. The basic aggression of wanting things to be different than they are. We cling, we defend, we attack, and throughout there is a sense of one's own wretchedness, and so we blame the world for our pain. This is negativity. We experience it as terribly unpleasant, foul-smelling, something we want to get rid of. But if we look into it more deeply, it has a very juicy smell and is very alive. Negativity is not bad per se, but something living and precise, connected with reality. Negativity breeds tension, friction, gossip, discontentment, but it is also very accurate, deliberate, and profound. Unfortunately, and here's the sort of interesting part in this, unfortunately, the heavy-handed interpretations and judgments we lay on these experiences obscure this fact. These interpretations and judgments are negativity, watching ourselves being negative, and then deciding that the negativity is justified in being there. The negativity seems good-natured with all sorts of good qualities in it. So we pat its back, we guard it, we justify it. Or if we are blamed or attacked by others, and we interpret their negativity as being good for us. In either case, the watcher, by commenting, interpreting, and judging, is camouflaging and hardening the basic negativity. So I know that's a lot to take in just, at a moment. I'm going to take a drink for a second here. I know that that text was very dense. It has a lot in it. But what I take away from this is that a big problem with the energy of depression and negativity is the kind of panic that we put around it. And the panic kind of cycles at a very high frequency. And it carries with it the story, number one, that it shouldn't be there. We shouldn't be feeling this way. And that number two, there's something wrong with us because we are having this experience. So what I hear Trungpa Rinpoche saying in this passage when he says negativity is juicy and, it's ripe and it's foul smelling, is that when we can take that sort of high frequency energy and that panic that we feel around negative emotions, and we begin to relax it, and we slow it down, and then we allow ourselves to penetrate into those feelings, simply with awareness, what we find is that there's actually a profound wisdom in whatever is going on. So whether it's the depression or the anxiety or what have you. And that once we can let ourselves sort of sink down and touch into that and just simply be in that space without judgment, we can mix the energy of the depression with that space. We can mix the anxiety with the space. And we can just give ourselves enough room to hang out there. Eventually, something sort of bubbles up to the surface that contains a key for how to liberate the energy and how to dissipate it and how to transform it actually into some sense of peace or space or freedom or possibly even joy. So I'm curious if any of you are out there hearing this, resonating with what I'm saying. Just feel free to give me a like or a hi or what have you. If that resonates with you, I'm very, very curious to hear that. So let's do a little bit of tapping. And before we do, if you have a journal handy, I want to ask you to just write down a couple of questions here. And we don't have time right now for you to go through all these questions, but they might be something that if you want to take them offline and answer them for yourself and then back later on and post a comment on this post, that might be really nice. So here's just makes complete sense. Hey, Sheridan, thank you. I'm so glad. If you want to just tell me what makes sense to you about it, I'd love to hear that. So the question number one for journaling for some later time, what's triggering my depression? It could be my anxiety, my negativity. What's triggering it? Are there circumstances that are triggering it? And I would just suggest, write that out as long as it feels comfortable to you. And then number two, where do I feel this energy in my body? So, by the way, all of these questions are questions that we ask for the graph doing some tapping. So, where do I feel this energy in my body? For me, when that anxiety can come up, like as a boot pressing on my chest. So, do I feel it as a boot on my chest? Is my throat closing up? Is my stomach in a knot? Where do I feel this anxiety in my body? Number three, what emotions am I feeling around it? I might be feeling numb or discouraged or despair or sad. So if you can just find those one single words that can identify, what the emotion is. And there could be multiple layers going on. So just, again, give yourself room, whatever you need. question number 4, what are the thoughts or the stories or even the beliefs that are surfacing in relation to this situation? Like, is there a particular thought that keeps circling around and coming back to me? Like, am I ruminating on something? Is there a story connected to this experience? And this actually relates to the next question that I'm going to ask, which is, what does this remind me of in my history? What, if anything? Do these body sensations remind me of? What do these emotions remind me of? What do these thoughts, these stories, these beliefs, like, are they connected to some earlier experience? Yeah, so that's very helpful for finding the link between the past and the present. And then number 6 is, what have I made this situation mean about me and other people and the universe? So this particular question, what have I made this situation mean about me, is the question that addresses the negativity that Trungpa Rinpoche was talking about in this passage, where, let me see if he says it here. Yeah, what have I made this mean about me? This is where this question addresses the interpretive overlay that we put on top of the basic energy of the, whatever the negativity is. So in terms of healing this, that is the layer that we want to work on, is that interpretive overlay. So those are questions that you can journal on at some point when you feel comfortable doing that, if they are helpful to you. And now let's do a little bit of EFT tapping to see if we can kick out some of these feelings. So EFT, I mean, if those of you who know about EFT and tapping, it's a form of emotional acupuncture. It is a way to dissipate stress by fingertip tapping on points at or near the ends of certain acupuncture meridians in the body. And what the tapping does is it sends a little electromagnetic pulse into the limbic system of the brain where the stress is stored. And it just lets that part of our brain know it's okay, right? It's okay. So let's do a little tapping here. So begin, first of all, by tuning in to whatever negative emotion you are feeling. And again, you can do this after you've done all the journaling questions, or we can just do some right now, but begin by just tuning into where you're at. So what is the feeling? Okay. And then how strong is that feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being it's absolutely strong, right? 10 is the strongest. So just see if you can find that. And then let me give you just a basic tapping guide that you can take and use on your own for when you start to feel really like you're in the clutches of this. So to begin with, we just tap on what we call, just tap on the side of the hand, actually. And you can just say as I say and do as I do. And if my words don't resonate with you, please feel free to use your own words. Okay, so, all right. So even though I am really struggling, and just repeat after me, and it's holiday time, and I'm really struggling. I'm feeling whatever it is, anxious, depressed, sad, grieving. You fill in the emotion there. I'm feeling, and I really don't want to feel this way, but I can't just get out of it either. Okay, good. Let's take a nice deep breath. Good. I'm just going to give myself space right now to be where I'm at. I'm going to give myself as much love as I can in this moment. Okay. And I deeply love and accept myself as best I can. Okay, beautiful. So let's go up onto the top of the head. All this struggle that I feel right now, go ahead and repeat after me. All this struggle that I'm going through. Good. Just keep tapping around the points and repeat after me. It's holiday time. And I feel like I should be happy. But the truth is, I'm in a lot of pain. The truth is, I'm really struggling. Good. The truth is, I do not feel happy at all. Okay, tell me if this feels true. Just tapping under the arm. I don't know if I can show you on camera. It's what we call the bra strap point. It's a couple inches below the armpit. And I just can't wait till the holidays are over. Okay, does that feel true? Alrighty. Yeah, I'm having a pretty miserable time right now. Everything that I'm struggling with. And here in the tapping, you might want to start, if you do the journaling first, you might want to just read from your story what it is that you wrote about. Okay, so just add your own words in here. And all of this makes me feel, okay, and then again, just the emotions that you're feeling. And I'm feeling this in my body. Again, where are you feeling it in your body? Good. So you can just keep tapping around that, the story, the emotions, and where it is in your body. Okay, good. Let's take a nice deep breath. Keep tapping. This is really hard. Right, under the arm. And I really want to find a way to some peace with all of this. Good. Top of the head. I just want to make room for myself to be exactly where I'm at. I just want to touch this pain. Just acknowledge that it's here. Good. Give it room to be. And give myself room to be exactly where I'm at. And whether I feel better or not, I love and accept myself either way. Okay, so let's just stop tapping there. Take a nice deep breath. Okay, now, how are you feeling? Revisit your distress number. If it was at a 6, maybe it's at a 4. It might have been at a 6 and it spiked up to an 8 or 9 or 10. Sometimes when we're tapping and we pop the lid off of things, the emotions can get more intense. So if that's the case for you, just keep tapping. Just stay with it until it starts to subside itself. Okay, let me just check a moment here and see if there's anything else that I wanted to say. Okay. Yeah, the last thing that I want to say here is that you don't have to make the depression go away for however claustrophobic and intense it might be. The more aggression we try to apply against it to try to turn ourselves into something that we're not, or make ourselves feel a certain way when we're not really feeling it, that just digs a deeper hole that we get into. So I just want to give you permission that if you are struggling, it's okay. You're not alone. And, to give yourself the space to be where you're at. And also to give yourself, here's just something I'll leave you with, that, if it's really hard and you're doing a lot of tapping, You can also just place your hands on your heart and just go inward for a moment and just ask yourself, what is the kindest thought that I can think toward myself in this moment? What is the most self-loving thought that I can think toward myself in this moment? And just see where that leads you. And perhaps that, can provide a little spark of light that can start to move you out of the darkness. So I think that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining me. If you would like more information about my work, you can contact me at marcellafriel.com, marcellafriel.com. And I'll also be posting some more information in the content section of this video. So many, many, many blessings to you for the holidays. I am here with you. If you want to reach out and comment on this video, please feel free. And I would love to hear from you. And I'm sending you lots and lots and lots of love. Alrighty. Bye for now.